What's up, guys? Coach Gabe Williams here from IronBorn CrossFit, and today I'm joined by Andrew Bakatsias. Andy is the owner of company BakToTheLab, which is a nutrition-based company. I'm not going to talk too much about it because he's going to do that in just a bit. I would not be bringing Andy to you if I didn't believe in what he was doing, and I didn't believe in the fact that he could help us get to our goals. So I want to let him introduce himself in just a little bit. Andy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company, why you started, when you started, how long you've been doing it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm really excited to be here. I always love connecting with you and just being in the IronBorn environment. So yeah, I'll tell you guys a little bit about BakToTheLab. It's a nutrition based coaching company where I do personalized one-on-one nutrition coaching. Specifically, like the people that I work with do CrossFit, but it's not limited to CrossFitters. I started doing this, was it last year? Or like, it's been like a year and a half, okay. I would say, of doing nutrition coaching one-on-one. Yeah, and I love it.
Awesome. That's really good, man. That's really good. In terms of nutrition, I know you're a nutrition-based company and you do work with CrossFitters a lot of the time. What exactly is your process like when somebody starts working with you? Like, what exactly are you offering?
Right. So first thing I would say is just determining what that individual's goals are. Okay. Like, what are they trying to do? How long have they been trying to do it?
Okay.
What struggles or obstacles have they been facing?
Okay.
And then based on those things and a bunch of other questions, like really diving into who that person is, right? So you go to CrossFit, you work out 3 times a week, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, right? Like, we know there are those individuals. On top of working out, they're also full-time parents. They're working their 9 to 5s, or they're working the overnight shift. Like, they're real human beings. And so when someone comes to me, we're trying to figure out, okay, what do they want to do? Okay. Right? I know they like doing CrossFit, they like working out, but when I ask them, like, what's your goal? Someone might be like, oh, okay, I want to lose like 10 pounds. Okay, but why? Like, let's dive in deep and figure out the meaning and the reasoning behind this, because yeah, anyone can say, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds, but if you don't have some like real like drive or motivation, it's really hard to just always depend on that motivation, right? So motivation is gonna start up at the beginning. We're gonna have that first 2-3 weeks of motivation. Oh, like when people first start a diet, like, yeah, I'm gung-ho, I'm ready to do this. They lock it in for like 3 weeks, and then something happens and the motivation starts to fade away. And then you're like, oh man, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Right. You kind of need that. I guess that North Star to look towards.
Absolutely.
Like, kind of like that goal that you're looking for, right?
Right. And so we'll figure that out, and then based on that, also, yeah, the goal, like the physical and like the health goals are great. Like, okay, do you want to lose 10 to 15 pounds? Do you want to lose like 50 pounds? Something I learned is called the triangle of like awareness. So like within CrossFit, and I'll tell this to my clients too when they first come on board, there's 3 points on that triangle of awareness. The first one, the top one, is performance. Okay. So like, if you're coming in the gym and you only care about performance, then it's gonna be hard to also work on the other 2 points, which are aesthetics. So like your body composition, what you look like, your body fat percentage. And then the other one is your overall health and well-being. Now, within the triangle of awareness, right, like if you're focusing only on aesthetics, like, oh, I only care about how I look, how it's looking good, then your performance is going to suffer. Your health is going to suffer. Like, if you have someone who does like a bodybuilding show and they only care about aesthetics because that's what they're trying to do, they're trying to get it cut up to 5% body fat, they're putting their body under a lot of stress. So they're getting away from the health aspect. Their body's taking a hit. Their metabolism's getting a bit like messed up. Their hormones are probably a little out of whack. And then their performance is going to suffer as well. Like, their lifts aren't going to be as strong. They're not going to have the aerobic capacity to push through because they're so shredded. So depending on where you are on that triangle of awareness, that's something we discuss. And you can certainly be somewhere in the middle. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to work on my performance, but I also care about my health.
Right.
And so we'll talk about that. And that's
Gotcha.
the process that I go through with the people that come on board to Back to the Lab.
Okay, cool. I know you mentioned body composition, which is something that is pretty popular to be discussed in the health community. Is that something that you measure as well in your process?
Yeah. So there are some people that I work with who have access to like in-body scans, right?
Okay.
I'm not sure whoever's listening to this or watching this. It's a machine that you step on and it measures your skeletal muscle mass, your body fat composition, and overall weight, like
Gotcha.
all that.
So it's a little
stuff.
bit more in depth than just losing 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like anyone, you can lose 10 pounds, but how much of that is going to be fat? How much of that is going to be muscle? Like you
Gotcha.
can drop the muscle, but that's what you don't want to do, right? If you're focusing on body composition and even like performance, like you want to hold on to as much muscle as possible.
Gotcha.
So yeah, body composition is definitely something we focus on, like if that's what a client wants to work on. And if they don't have access to an in-body scan, there's like a lot of different ways to measure progress too. Right? Like we can use the scale, but the scale is only a tool.
Right.
The in-body scan is only a tool. Your progress photos, like if you're taking pictures once a month, you can see a lot of progress just in those pictures.
Right.
So that's another tool. And then just how your clothes are fitting also. How are you feeling in your skin? Let's look at your biofeedback. Like, is your sleep improving? How are you dealing with like stress? Is your stress getting a little bit better? Do you have more energy throughout the day? So all these different things that are used as tools to measure progress. It's not just the scale or like an in-body scan. Yeah.
Gotcha. And when somebody starts working with you, they're working one-on-one with you. They're not working with somebody else. They're working with actually you, right? So, and I feel like a huge part of this is like accountability. So, basically, when it comes to accountability, are you going to be the one that's there kind of like seeing how they eat, or like seeing what they're eating, or how much they're eating, or like how you should change this part of the diet or that kind of the diet or anything like that, or how does it kind of go?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of accountability, everybody's a little bit different.
Okay.
I have clients like, and I had to learn this the hard way. You have clients that come on and great people, but they don't like being told what to do.
Gotcha.
Right? So like I can't drill sergeant them and be like, hey, you have to do this, this, and that this week, and that's it. People are gonna be like, I know I'm working with you, but I don't want to listen to you, right? Like, so coming up with a plan, like what I tell people is we're collaborating on this. Like I'm your coach, but you're putting in the work. I'm gonna be by your side throughout the whole process, but this is all you at the end of the day.
Right. You got to be the one to put in that effort.
Exactly. So I can be Obi-Wan Kenobi. I could be like a little bit of a guide or whatever, but that individual at the end of the day has to put in the work, right? Same like with anyone that comes into a CrossFit gym, right? They come in, like
they got to do the work.
Exactly. Like you can sandbag a 20-minute AMRAP and just put in minimal effort, but like what are you gaining from that at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So
it depends on your effort, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of diets, what are a couple of reasons that diets, I guess, don't work? And I guess for people that are watching this and kind of are thinking of the fact that they may need some nutrition coaching, what would you say to the people who have tried diets and they kind of maybe like didn't continue too long with them, or maybe like went a certain amount of time but then stopped after a while, just maybe like lost that motivation? What would you say to them, and like how would you help them through those obstacles?
Right. So first thing is like there's on like social media and just like fitness in general, there's a lot of like hate on diets, and I've done it myself. I'm like, diets, they don't work, man. Like stop doing them. But like when I really sat back and thought about it, I'm like, they do work, right? They're gonna get you to that goal. Like, okay, you want to lose 15 pounds. All right, let's go on paleo, and you'll crush it. But then once you you hit your goal, right? And then you start taking steps back into like the real world, right? You can't just eat meat, fruits and vegetables. I mean, you can fruits and vegetables, nuts, and just live off that. And then come in here and do CrossFit. It's really hard. So like you'll get a result, but again, once we start taking steps back into the real world where, okay, you have those social gatherings, you have like if you want to be that person who brings their own food to the party or the barbecue, like, hey,
Sure.
more power to you.
Right.
Like, no hate, do your thing. You have a goal, you're determined. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, when people fall off their diet, they haven't really established sound eating habits. And that's something I focus on. Like we gotta set the foundation, like to figure out, okay, what's gonna work best for you, right? Because everyone is different. So like people be like, oh, I just did this diet and it worked really great for me, and then you try it and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then
how'd you make it through that?
and then you're like, then you start feeling guilty. You're like, man, my friend was able to do it. Why can't I do it?
Gotcha.
But that worked for them doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Right. So diets are great. It's just a lot of times they're not sustainable. If you're in the 99, like if you're in the 1% who can hop on paleo, carnivore, keto, Atkins, whatever, and do that for the rest of your life, more power to you. That's awesome. But for a lot of people, the other 99%, that's just not feasible.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that's kind of my take on diets. Like you'll find success doing them, but a lot of times once we hop off, we'll slowly track back into our old eating habits, and slowly 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the line, you put that weight back on because
Gotcha.
you didn't address the issue at hand.
That's why that foundation is the most important thing, because then you can kind of build off of that and not fall back into an old habit because you've created a good one that works for you, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. That works.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you personally, what do you do for fitness?
I'm all about that CrossFit life.
Okay, so
Yeah.
As a person who has done CrossFit, still does CrossFit, how long have you done CrossFit for?
It's probably been like 7 years or something like
so
that.
you're a veteran in the game. So
Yeah,
so
Denise
for
will tell you that.
So for someone who has been doing CrossFit for a while, what do you think gives you an upper hand working with CrossFitters? So people that do that style of training, something that you're invested in and something that you've done as well. What about that kind of gives you an upper hand in helping somebody?
Yeah. I'm them. I'm you, right? Like, and yeah, I live and breathe CrossFit. I love it. It's just the constantly varied stuff. Like it never gets boring. You have like the programming's great, and then you just have the community. I feel like that's the number one thing that draws people to it. Just I know Saturday morning at 9 a.m. so-and-so is going to be there. That's my accountability partner. If I'm not there, I'm kind of letting them down. And so you keep yourself in check with all these other people who help build you up in the community. Like we're setting PRs, we're having fun. It's just great, and that's why I love it. In terms of like nutrition and CrossFit, like again, like I said, I'm them. I'm a CrossFitter. I understand. I'm someone who used to CrossFit 6 times a week, bust my butt, and then binge drink on the weekends, like Friday, Saturday, and then we're going to brunch on Sunday. Yeah, let's go. So I understand that life and that aspect, and
give and take.
Exactly.
Right.
Like I can tell you, like when I was CrossFit, like before COVID, right? Before everything kind of like shut down, and we can kind of talk about how I transitioned into nutrition coaching because COVID had something to do with it. But prior to COVID, I was 5-6 years into CrossFit. I'm training. I'm waking up 4:30 to go to the gym at 5 a.m. to train from 5 to 7 to get back home really quick, take a quick shower, hop on the train, go into Manhattan, work my 9 to 5, take the train back. It's 6:30, making dinner, shower, I'm in bed, 9:30, and then boom, we're back at it. So
rinse, repeat.
Exactly. So like I totally understand, and like I said, and then on the weekends just having fun and or having like doing whatever responsibilities I had. So I definitely understand how to work through that and just bring more awareness to what you're trying to do and goals at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I actually think that's really cool because a lot of people think that just because either you do one thing, you can't do the other. Like, let's say that you do CrossFit. Let's say people will say, oh, well, you can't drink on the weekends then, you can't do this or do that, or vice versa. If you're drinking on the weekends, oh, you can't do CrossFit during the week then. But it's good to be able to see that people are able to do both, have a happy balance of the two. It's not impossible. And it's probably good that they work with somebody who has experienced that kind of like that push and pull between the two forces there.
Yeah, because when I'm working with somebody, like, okay, they have an event or a wedding or baby shower or barbecue, someone's birthday, like, I'll tell them, go have fun, right? Like, this is just a drop in like the grand scheme of the whole thing, right? You're training CrossFit, you're working on your fitness, your health, and like your whole wellness journey. It's okay to have that one weekend, right? Like, now if it's consistent and we're trying to get to a goal and it's just constant, then okay, we reevaluate and we talk about like, okay, how can we work around this? How can we like track if we're consuming alcohol? How can we do some kind of like alcohol tracking in there and mitigate the amount of like quote unquote damage that it's doing?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So real quick, for anybody who's watching this, been hearing what we're saying, listening to what we're talking about, and they're kind of thinking to themselves, you know what, I do need a little bit of nutrition guidance, a little bit of help, because as they say, it is 75% nutrition, 25% working out. So, and what they say, abs are made in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What would you say to people that are watching and they're kind of considering, give them a little, like a 2-minute elevator pitch on why they should kind of take you up on your services? Because I feel like it's a very one-on-one based model, and people can kind of find intelligent, intellectual, nutrition-based people anywhere, but working with somebody who really takes this kind of approach and has your best interest in mind and has really takes the time to get to know you as a person. I feel like that's really important. So why don't you talk to them a little bit and kind of give them your 2-minute elevator pitch on that?
Sign up. No, I'm just kidding.
Not a bad one.
Yeah, straight to the point. I would just, anybody who's thinking or who's on the fence about doing one-on-one coaching, just ask yourself, I guess, what is your goal? Like, what are you really trying to do? And it kind of goes back to what we said at the beginning. Like, what's your North Star? Why do you want to do this? And then look at like what's going wrong, or like what struggles are you facing? Do you feel like you have the tools to get through this, to work through this and get you to your goal? Or do you feel like you're just on the constant cycle of like, I'm going to diet, I'm going to get a result, I'm going to fall off, I'm going to go back to my old eating habits, I'm going to put on the weight, I'm going to feel guilty and not like myself when I look in the mirror, and then I'm going to decide, okay, I'm going to diet again, and then I'm just going to keep going on this vicious cycle? Or do you want to just like figure out how to stop doing that? How to do this quote unquote diet for life, right? Integrate it into your life, so that going forward, when you have a goal, you're like, okay, I know what to do. I have my foundation. Like, everybody knows what to do, or maybe they don't know what to do, but there's so much information online, right? Like, how do you lose 20 pounds in 6 months? You can Google that, and you can find so many different resources out there, right? But are you going to do it? Are you going to take the time? Are you going to put the things in place? Or do you need somebody to hold you accountable? Like, we were talking about accountability. Do you need someone to help guide you? Because in a box, we can do it. But in real life, when there's all these outside factors, right? You have these obstacles, you have your kids, you have your work, you have your relationship, you have your pet, like all these different things. When they're coming at you, are you going to be able to keep on going through the mud, like, are you going to be able to do that? And so that's why, like, hey, I'm here because I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to go through the mud together. We're going to get through this and come out on the other side successful. So that's what I would say for anybody who's on the fence for it.
Okay, that makes total sense. You heard the man. Sign up. So for anybody that's looking for nutrition coaching, Andy is graciously now opening his services to anybody under the IronBorn window. So if you guys are feeling like you need a little bit of guidance with, you know, Thanksgiving coming up, Halloween coming up, holiday season coming up, cold weather coming up,
It's coming.
Things like that, definitely give him a hit up. Where can people find you on socials, on, you know, anything on a website, whatever?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Bakatsias, so ABAKATSIAS. Or you could email me at BakToTheLab@gmail.com, or friend me on Facebook, Andrew Bakatsias as well. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay, awesome. All right, so ending the show on a non-business related note, I know you are an avid sports fan.
Yep.
Basketball fan.
Yep.
Used to hoop.
Yep. I still
You still
do. I
hoop?
still do.
Oh,
I
okay,
still
okay.
do
We got to
from
get you on the
time
court
to time.
sometime.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
ready.
I hear you. Okay, so follow the NBA?
Yeah. Not as much as of late.
Okay.
But yeah, once the season picks back up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That being said, do you have a let's go with a Mount Rushmore of favorite players. So let's go top four. Let's go top four. The first one is the most important, but you can give me three after.
Damn, like this is tough. Like in order from my favorite to like my top four, or can it just be like blanketed?
Yeah, you can give me a top four in general, no real order necessary.
All right, so the first one is Tracy McGrady.
Oof,
that's one of
elite.
my favorite,
Okay.
big time. Like growing up, just watching him do his thing.
Smooth.
OD.
Smooth.
He's up there. Big Penny Hardaway fan as well.
Okay. They play.
Yeah,
pretty
very similar.
So
they
yeah, I
both
can
play on
see
the
why.
Magic.
Yeah.
Just like big guards, I guess, just like
Yeah.
handling the rock, doing their thing.
Okay.
Damn, my other two.
I mean, you can
it's
stop it at the
tough,
first two.
man.
If those are the top of the echelon, you don't got to give two
It's
more.
tough, but now like my mind's just racing. I'm just thinking about so many people.
So many hoopers out there.
there's like so many underrated. I guess someone who I really enjoyed watching. Like I liked and One a lot growing up. So like I like Rafer Alston and stuff like that.
Skip to my Lou.
Exactly.
Yeah. He also played with the Mac in Houston.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Him. And then who do I like right now? I mean, honestly, you've been the fan from the jump. I used to hate on LeBron. I was a LeBron hater straight up.
I remember the days.
But like just to see this man aging and still consistently doing what he's doing. And then me getting older and just not being a hater, like what's wrong with me? Like, grow up, dude.
Right.
Like, just seeing that, it's inspiring.
Right.
The level at which he plays, the consistency at which he's able to do it, getting consistent winning seasons, championships, things like that. He's on the list too. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just kind of proving that we can still be elite athletically at an advanced age, right? So, listen, that's what we're all trying to do.
We're trying to get the fountain of youth, man.
Let me know when you find it, man. But
it's
yeah,
nutrition.
There you go. That's probably true. But yeah, brother. Yeah, I appreciate the time, man. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Letting everybody know what you do. Like I said, you heard the man. Sign up. Nutrition is a huge part of fitness and health and well-being in general. So you will not be disappointed if you sign up with this man and let him kind of like lead you through the process, which is usually extremely, extremely hard. But he's gonna make it a lot easier for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And Andy, thank you for the time, man.
Yo, I appreciate it.